Guys, finally, we're gonna go wheel a Stepchild.
Show the boxes real quick.
Oh, I didn't know how far along you are. I've been leaving you alone. I've been very good at trying to stay out of here. Problem is, I come in here and I just want to talk to him about ideas. So that's my fault, and I know it. But I also get bored. I get bored being in the house. What's up, Brite Nation?
What's up, Brite Nation?
So we're finally back home in Utah. As you can see, we've got the little Jimny in the shop because there's some work that needs to be done to that. Actually, we have a whole yard full of cars that need to be fixed up, and Chris is on that. The Stepchild did fantastic, but like we said, we rushed to get this out to Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. So it is here, it is back, and Chris has already fixed a lot of little issues that we had, and I'll walk you through that, and then also let you know what else we have to fix. All right, so under here, when I jumped this, when we were at ADS and I kind of jumped and played around, I cut this ABS line right here on the muffler. I don't know. I think it just kind of came up here, and then when the muffler came down into here.
I think the muffler just touches right here, and this line was up higher, and I think this was on top of it, and it just whoop, right there.
Yeah, we did that. Chris right now is hooking up the e-brake cables, so from the Dynatrack. They don't really use e-brakes all that much, but I guess it is nice to have.
So what I did is I cut the bracket up, and I'm going to mount it on this upper arm because it doesn't move. So this one will go.
The upper arm doesn't move?
You can't twist it.
Oh, twist.
You can't twist it. There's no adjustment.
But going up and down is fine. Back here, we had this vent line come loose. We were kind of smelling fuel, so that's been kind of rerouted. Oh, Chris put in all new 48,000 lumen LED lights in here, so if you can...
It's bright. You don't look up.
So those were the lights that were in here, is what that was. And then these are the new ones, which are like crazy, crazy bright. So at night now, it should be beautiful, beautiful camera. Yes. Oh, okay. So remember the steering issues. Remember I had messed up and made one of these too long and it was steering all bad? Well, we also found another issue. So after we got that fixed, I was like, man, it's like 90% better, but it's still kind of trailing one way and the other. It's kind of somewhat walking down the highway. Hi, Bree.
What?
Oh, she got me a popsicle. Thanks, Bree.
Get out.
Uh-oh, dog mouth.
Ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
We don't like the dogs in here because there's too much metal on the ground everywhere. We were trying to figure out what was going on because it felt like something in the steering was loose. Couldn't really figure it out. And I messaged JP, Jeremy Pierrick over at Rock Crawler. He was like, hey, send me a photo of where your drag link attaches to your pitman arm. And I'm thinking, that's pretty freaking specific. We took a look. We started looking at like making sure everything was set in here right. And you see how that boot squished and that drag link on the knuckle sits just down over the stud and that boot squished. And all this looks great and flat. That looks good and flat. And then we got here, and as you can see, that boot is not squished. And that, you can't really tell, but it's hard to show. But that stud is not going up past that nut, and this is not sitting all the way down there. The thing is that Dynatrack uses JK reamed knuckles. So people know that. Like if you're rock crawler and you're doing a tie rod, drag link, track bar kit, like people know that. Same thing with Steer Smarts. So we have a Steer Smarts bar, and he knew we had Dynatrack, so he sent us a JK here, but he sent us a JL here, which I have a JL. Well, no, because we have a Hemi swap, we have a PSC, and the JL box did not fit with the Hemi swap, so we had to use a JK box. So this is a JK PSC box that then means we have a JK pitman arm. So we're JK, not JL, JK. The reason that it's been not driving right is because that...
Just a little bit of walking around in
Yeah.
there.
But it's enough to feel like something's loose or wrong. That will be here tomorrow. That'll get fixed. And then Chris added a little bit more caster into the front axle. Then also he put up a skid plate for the engine and transmission. So this is all stuff that he didn't film because he just got to work because we don't have a lot of time. And this poor little guy, I got this and it had a blown head gasket. So Chris has already got to work on it. Needs a water pump and a head gasket. Chris's Audi needs a coolant line. The 32 will be a whole build coming up this winter. I don't think Chris has ever talked about that. And then tomorrow we're picking up the motor for the Corvette. So that will come in here as soon as this comes off the lift. So once he gets done with this, builds the towers. We're going wheeling Thursday. Today's Tuesday, so we're going wheeling. Hopefully the towers are done, and then when that rolls off of here, the Corvette will roll in here and we'll get a motor and everything put in the Corvette. So then we'll have almost everything running. The Braptor is fine. It needs a rear bumper, and we're getting a Fouts Motorsports upper control arm and lower control arm lockout kit. But that's just coming in for that. I keep spinning the lower control arm bolts on the Braptor. I've heard of people doing it, even running it hard in the desert and hitting whoops and hard turns and stuff. There's just a lot of pressure.
Cam bolt
walks.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna get lockouts for it.
Yeah.
So they don't walk anymore.
So the bottom will be locked out, no cam adjustment. on the bottom, and then the top will be an upper billet control arm, which
But
will
it'll be Heims.
it should all come along pretty quickly now, and then we'll have our whole fleet running, and then Chris is just going to be on vacation, I guess.
Retired. All right, so I think I came up with a solution for the e-brake. As you remember, this is the bracket that needs to go up there somewhere. There's no room for that. So what I did, cut the ends off of it, and then I took them and I welded them to the upper link, because this upper link doesn't do anything but swing. All it does is swing. Because it's bent, it's not going to twist. You can't twist it. You can't even adjust it to twist it, or twist it to adjust it. So I welded them on here. So this is the one that goes to the wheel. It goes up and over, and then that side goes whoop up into the cab. This is what I came up with, and so far it works pretty good. And then moving on to the Jimny, Pam got all of the rest of it out. So this is that Blue Devil stuff that Kevin put in there a couple of months ago. This is a terrible idea, so we're gonna have to clean all this stuff out. At least it didn't get hard. It's like a jelly. It's really weird. We have to clean that out. Other than that, there's still hash marks in there. It looks amazing. It did go right here, a little bit right there, and a little bit right there. It looked like it was starting to go out the top of this guy, so we're gonna go get that head surfaced, and then we'll get back to this in like probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because Kevin ordered front seals, rear seals, new turbo manifold, because this guy, focus, it won't, but it's cracked in there, so it's cracked all the way around. I think Kevin ordered another turbo too, just a stocky little $300 turbo, just because it was only a couple $100. So we'll get this thing back together in a couple of months. Yeah, look for that. But today, I get to build boxes. It might be a little difficult, but I am going to build a bottom box and a top cover that'll go on there, because I do have the hoses coming out, and Kevin likes them up in here, and I will be building mounts for those. I also want to build a triangulated cage. There's a couple of bolts back here, and I'm going to triangulate it up to the center of this and then back down to this guy. I'll probably make it all bolt in. Maybe. Kevin, we talked about welding it, but I think there's just too much going on in here to weld it, because then we got to paint it all up and stuff like that. So I'll probably build something that'll bolt to like this main structure and then down the inside of this, because I do know there's some bolt holes in there. And we're going to build a big triangulated brace, because as you remember, the cage is ripped and it's torn right above there on both sides. I don't know if that happens to a lot of Jeeps, but it definitely happened to this one. So we're gonna brace that up. We talked about putting a cage in it, but the stock cage, it's really hard metal to deal with and cut out, and it would probably take me a while to get it all cut out. We'd have to take the dash out for me to do it the right way. It's a lot for right now, and Kevin's just chomping at the bit to get this thing back on the trail, which I think they're gonna try and do tomorrow. So I'm gonna build some boxes today, see how far I can get. Essentially, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to build a flange around, all the way around, probably up this rib, and then I'll build a box all the way around it, but it'll be flanged at the top so I can bolt on another top cap around all this. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this. It's going to be a big grommet, but I don't know if I'm going to sandwich it between the two pieces. So this box will essentially go all the way to here, about this level, and then the top cap will go on it. The top cap will also go all the way over to that wall, come back, go down the back side of this, all the way around. The flange will bolt on, and I'll seal it with some rubber seal, but I think that's what we're gonna do. Then they'll be serviceable in the future. First thing I'm gonna do is get some flanges made. So I got some 1-inch strips of 18 gauge. I cut a couple of them. Now I'm just gonna mark them out and get them set up against the Jeep, and we'll form them, and then we'll build the box part. So now I'll just get these cut to shape. All right, so the first one we're gonna work on is coming from this seam all the way down and out. It's kind of at an angle. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to shrink and stretch the metal so that it has a little curve. So we use a shrinker spreader for that, but then when you go like this and you give it that, now you can see that this is at an angle and this is straight up and down. So we have to do this one next. So then I just pick these up at Harbor Freight, shrink on this side and stretch on this side. Pretty much in the middle here. Give it a little. And you can already see it's starting to turn. Stretch this side out. Now you can see it's really got a bow to it. So now we can bend this. This should be straight with that. Now we gotta get this back in the Jeep. And then we get this guy in here. We probably gotta bend it right about. Man, it's pretty tight. So now we can go ahead and start to drill all of this. We'll get some nutserts in it so that we can get this bolted down, and we'll just go all the way around the tower on both sides and go from there. And now that I gotta drill some holes, I also gotta show you something else I picked up. These things. They're from KenCut, KNKUT.com. They're step bit ends on all of them. Let's just say you have to go from like a 1/4 inch hole to like a 3/8 hole, and it'll wobble around a little bit. No, it won't, because these drill bits index and they have their own step bit built into them. All right, so I got one completely lined out, and I will build a box to here, and then we'll build a cover, and it'll go all the way up to that flat. I got this one all in. It's nutserted inside so that I don't have nutserts in the wheel wells, but this will be covered by carpet, and there will be a box to here, so I'm not really worried about those guys sticking out. These are all flush because they go inside the cab or under the cab, and then those go into the void in the fender, so that's why they're there. But I did find an issue. Found it a while ago, but I just wanted to finish this one side before I got to it, and this is the issue. I noticed this a while ago. Because I cut this side off, you can see that the shock has pushed this top up because I don't have another support over here. It hasn't twisted it, but it's definitely lifted it, and it's creased the back. You can see it. Well, you can't see it on that one, but we're going to overcome these problems right now, so that's one of them. So I'm going to build a wall for this, but the seat goes all the way to here, so let me show you what I came up with. So there's my little template that I made, and this guy is gonna go in here just like so. As you can see, that's how it's gonna rest. We're gonna have to crease this a little bit. All right, so I got the pieces cut out, and I got them all bent up. They fit in there perfectly. So that's what we're gonna go with. We're gonna weld those guys up. Now, I gotta cover the inside, and what I like to do, this is just a fiberglass mat from Harbor Freight. I like to put a moving blanket down first, otherwise this fiberglass gets all over the interior, and that sucks. All right, so I got them in. The other thing I wanted to do is I do want to put a bar from that side, the top of that, over to the top of that. But if it's permanent, you'll never be able to take the cab off again because that's part of the chassis. So they're gonna have to bolt on. I don't want to bolt them on yet, or clevis, you know, with a little clevis, but I don't think I can get the clevis close enough to this tube that it won't stick out past the hole at the bottom of the tub to come up and past that. So I don't like the idea, but I'm probably gonna end up bolting it on there, bolting a big plate on there, and that bar is just gonna go across and then come down and bolt into this side.
It's here, it's here, it's here. So
this is the potatoes he's been waiting for.
This is what I've been waiting for. So we've had this like wandering, a little bit of steering. So remember, at first it was my fault for the arm being two.
And a sticker.
Oh, there you go. And I kind of knew, but I kind of forgot that when you do the Hemi swap, America's Most Wanted switches to a hydro box from PSC, but it's a JK box, so the JK box is smaller than the JL box. It's a JK on the axle end because that's what Dynatrack uses, but now it's a JK on the Pitman arm end, but it's a JL, which makes that super confusing, of course.
Sorry to complicate things.
So we've been running Steer Smarts on there forever, but now that we have a wider axle, we needed a new Steer Smarts drag link. But we do have the Rock Crawler tie rod because that is the craziest, biggest, beefiest, nastiest tie rod on the market. Like, I still can't get over how massive this thing is, and it's on Rock Crawler's Ultra 4 car. They've been testing this for a couple of years. These joints are rebuildable, and they're like $19, but they haven't ever gone through a single joint yet. Like, they have a few vehicles running these that have put tens of thousands of miles. You actually take these set screws, there's 2 here and 2 on the other side, you loosen them, and then you can tighten this. So if you start to get a little bit of play, so after the first couple thousand miles, you're supposed to back these out and the other one's out, and then tighten this down. I forgot what the torque specs were, like 35 foot-pounds, and then tighten the set screws back down, and that's supposed to be it. You should never have to rebuild them, but so that's Rock Crawler's new setup, and it's sick. They do have the drag link as well, but they don't fit with Dynatrack axles. They do fit with factory axles. So if you're looking for the biggest, baddest steering on the market, Rock Crawler is it. This shank should be thicker on this one because it's the JL than on the JK. You can see it already. So you see the thickness here and see how this one's not so much. So this one, that's what's cool about. So Steer Smarts, we've always used them for tie rods and drag links and stuff like that because they have anti-flop ends. So you don't only want to use a little bit because there is reliefs cut in this, and you will get sand and dirt and stuff in there. And those are painted, so you really shouldn't need too much anti-seize. With dissimilar metals, though, you always want to use anti-seize. So when you've got this steel going into aluminum, anytime you got something going in aluminum, 1000% use anti-seize. Does that mean we close up this video? Chris isn't done yet with the rear, but that doesn't matter because we need to go wheel this thing. It's literally been nearly a year since we've actually wheeled this. I'm freaking stoked. Oh, if you guys were seeing this, the clamp, we never coated it. We didn't paint it or coat it. We were supposed to, and we just needed to throw it on there. So that'll come back off and get put in the blaster and maybe shark-hided because I like the raw metal look, or we'll just paint it black. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so this should fix the wandering. Chris did add a little bit more caster. I think we just need to close this out, or do I go wheeling while you finish doing this? Guys, finally, we're gonna go wheel the Stepchild. And then
the boxes real quick.
Oh, I didn't know how far along you are. I've been leaving you alone. I've been very good at trying to stay out of here. Problem is, I come in here and I just want to talk to him about ideas, and then we spend too much time talking about, like, oh, we could do this, and we should do that, we should do this, when he should be working. So that's my fault, and I know it. But I also get bored. You get bored being in the house.
All right, I'll fix that in a minute. So we got the trims in. They're all bolted in. They go all the way up and around. And then next I'm going to build the boxes, split them about here, and then build the top box. And then we're going to put the bar that goes across. But I got to build the boxes first so I know where that hole goes. Now I'm just going to bag these up real quick so we don't get any more dirt on the interior and go see what she does.
Yeah, we're just going to put some trash bags or something, tape it down. Okay, so I'm excited. Thank you for getting it all done, Chris. High five. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Maybe find all your Lite, Brite Nation merch and decals at LiteBriteStudios.com. I just want to go wheeling.
I know. All right.
I'm ready to go. All right, we love you. We'll see you next time. Woohoo! Okay.
Yeah, so I got those welded up there. This is going to be your surround. So next I'm going to build that box.
Oh, wait.
Oh my God.
God. You think I did this for a living. I don't.
All right. She was brushing her hair and Peanut. Oh, there we go. Peanut's like, no. No, Ma, stop.
It's an OJ Bronco, and it might belong to Pam.